This is the Infinite Receiving Podcast, helping conscious leaders like you tap into a wealth of abundance across all areas of your life and business. My name is Susie Ashworth. I am a single mom of 3 and author of the Sunday Times best-selling book, Infinite Receiving. Crack the code to conscious wealth creation and finally manifest your dream life. On this show, I'll be sharing with you how you can upgrade your identity and your reality to create the life that you have been dreaming of. Because you are ready to be an infinite receiver. Hello, you gorgeous human being. It is Susie Ashworth here, and you are listening to the Infinite Receiving Podcast. I've got a really bloody great one for you today. We are just going to dive right on in, and I want to answer the question that I know that if you have ever worked on something that in the beginning you thought, this is it, this is the one that is going to elevate me into 10k, 20k, 500k, 1 million pounds, whatever it is, like this is the thing. And then you're so excited. You are so freaking excited. You are about to explode. You're like, we're going to break the internet with this. It's like big fanfare. Something is coming. And then wet squib. And you're like, what? Say what now? Hang on a minute. I thought that this was amazing. And I spoke to this person over there and I looked and I did my market research and they're like, no one is interested. Cricket. And your heart sinks. And you start to question the validity of your entire existence. Maybe a tad dramatic, but you get the drift. But you don't give up then. You do not give up because you love this idea. You think that it's amazing and you're going to go for it again, but this time you're going to choose a different strategy. Yeah, challenges are dead. Let's go for the masterclass. I'm going to do the most amazing masterclass. 5 steps to do. How to create an incredible theme tune like EastEnders. And everybody's going to register for this masterclass and it's going to be amazing. And you set up the masterclass and you have, 150, 300, 500 people sign up. And then 50 people show up. And you are not disheartened because you know that even if 50 people show up, you show up like there's 500 people there and you can send out the replay. And you do that once again. Wow. Cricket, no one's buying. Is it because it's a dud idea? Is it because you just don't know what the heck you are doing and you need to give up and go and start at Tesco? I am going to break down whether you need to give up. I am not going to break that down. You do not need to give up, but I am going to talk you through a super helpful thought process. It's going to help you work out whether you do need to stop with the idea that you have been working on or not. And I suppose what feels really important to say, real talk, right from the get-go, is that how much money you have in reserve is going to impact most people's decisions about this. And it's frustrating because if you are somebody who doesn't have 3 months worth of expenses, 6 months, a year stocked in your bank account, that is going to impact how many times you are willing to go again. It's going to impact how much you are willing to trust the process. And what is so interesting to me is that I work with clients that fall right across the spectrum, and the ones that see the most success are the ones who are willing to trust the process, which means that they are willing to take a lot of failure, a lot of tweaking, refining, and optimizing of both self and offer before they will throw the towel in. And then you have the other type of client that does really, really well. Is a client that just has the financial capacity to be detached from the outcome, really, really knowing like this is the goal, this is the focus, this is what is happening, and we will sit with it until it happens. So patient clients and clients who have the financial security, they can operate differently when something isn't like a hit right off the bat. And then you have people like me who really just get it, that in business, you are going to have way more duds than you are successes. And so in order to deal with the duds, you have to be able to diversify. You have to have more than one iron in the fire at any given time, which means that you can have a dud happening in the left hand, a huge success happening in the right hand, and that what is happening in the right hand is able to support you through the duds happening in the left. And when you are able to really understand that having duds is part of the process, that will also change the way that you think about whether you need to chuck it out or stick with it. So I wanted to say those things up front, because if you're only working on one thing and you've tried it a couple of times and it is not working, it is like so normal to be like, I need to be able to pay my bills, and I can't go through another launch and it not be successful, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. That mindset in and of itself is a really good reason for you to not follow through, because you can't create expansion when you're holding yourself in a space of contraction. And that thought holds you. It doesn't propel you. So how to know whether you should walk away from a project or an idea? And actually, I think that the first question, better question to start with, is how do I know if this idea has the potential to be a winner in the first place? So if you can imagine a Venn diagram, you want to have your passion on one side in one circle, and then the client's problem on the second circle. And the crossover is the winning idea. So where people get this wrong is that they think that just because they're passionate about something and they've been told to follow their passion from here, there, and everywhere, that passion is enough to create a winning business, and it isn't. I absolutely think that passion is a prerequisite. You have to be passionate about something that your audience recognize is a problem. And the only exception to that would be maybe your audience doesn't recognize that it's a problem now, but you are very clear that this is solving a problem that your audience is going to need to have, is going to want. So when Sara Blakely set up Spanx, people didn't know that they needed Spanx. That wasn't something that they were looking for. But Sara understood that once people saw what Spanx would do for them, like, of course, they would want to have a piece of that pie. When Elon Musk set up SpaceX, everybody wasn't going, I need to go to Mars. Now, people still aren't saying, I need to go to Mars. But he understood the problem that creating that space aviation company would be able to solve. So when you are willing to be ahead of the game, like, great, knock yourself out. But for most of us as coaches, what we are wanting to do is find the cross-section between something that we are really passionate about teaching, about coaching on, about serving on, and that intersecting with problems that people recognize that they have. So first of all, does it fit that criteria? Passion, meeting a problem. If it does, we are ticking and we are moving on. 2, you are genuinely excited about being able to deliver this. And so what I mean, the filter for this is, if you had enough money in the bank, would you still want to be working on this project? Would you still want to be helping people in the way that you are helping people? Or would you be like, oh no, I'm going off to the Bahamas? It's not to say that if you won the lottery tomorrow, if you didn't want to be doing what it is that you're doing now, that makes you a fraud. And when you are doing something that really does just light you up, that really helps you during the tough days. If you are picking something because you think that this is the niche that is going to pay you the most money, so you're excited about that, But in terms of the types of people, in terms of the actual work, you would, given the choice, scoop your eyeballs out with a teaspoon. It's not sustainable. So are you genuinely excited about being able to deliver this work? Is this a type of work that you would choose, could easily find entertaining and fulfilling and satiating, even if you weren't getting paid for it? If you tick that box, great, we have got a winning idea. So then we can go back to, how do I know when it's time to throw the towel in? You want to think about how you have positioned, campaigned, and sold this product or idea up until now. Have you gone all in? Like, really, genuinely, have you given it 100%? You know, if I think about everything that I've launched, with the exception, I would say that the only exception, this is me being really honest and really transparent, I don't need your judgment, thank you, Mary. I'm living my life as a single mom with 3 kids, and I'm doing my best. But my best isn't always all in. The only thing that I have gone truly all in on this year is my book launch. You know, everything else, if I'm really honest, could have easily given another 20, 25%, definitely more in the tank for everything, with the exception of the book launch, which I just went all in on. You know, made a Sunday Times bestseller. Absolutely astounding result. So you first have to ask yourself, have I gone all in on this? Because if the answer is no, it's definitely not time to throw in the towel. You have to be able to say that you have gone all in. And let's be real, you have to be able to say that multiple times. Like, going all in on something once means nothing in the lifespan of a business. And I think that often the coaching industry does coaches a disservice by only talking about quantum leaps and not putting those quantum leaps into context. Because it's very rare that somebody literally starts their business and then has a huge leap. Usually they're in their business for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years before they have the breakthrough. So nothing happens overnight. So unless you have been going all in for a considerable period of time, it is not time to throw the towel in. So you've gone all in. Then have to look at the data. This is not a thinking or a feeling or a, an intuitive thing. Actually, when we are looking at the business and deciding, is it time to throw this out? This is looking at the data. So I've gone all in, but how many people have landed on this landing page? 400. Well, I've done 4 campaigns and we've only got 100 people. 100 people is the very bare minimum number of people that you need to have land on a landing page for you to look at the landing page. So not even your offer. 100 people, 20 people opted in for whatever it is. That's got nothing to do with your offer. That has to do with the landing page. Or I did a challenge and nobody showed up. Or I did a challenge and I had 20 people a day show up and nobody bought my offer. Well, it's because you've got 20 people a day. So we don't know anything about your offer right now. What we know is that when people sign up for your challenge, they get lost in between signing up and actually joining on the first day. So let's work on that. So we have to start being really data-driven and informed about each stage of the customer journey before we are able to make a really sound call about whether it's time to throw the product in. And again, most coaches aren't looking at their business in this way. They're like, well, this post doesn't work. It means that nobody wants to buy it. Well, no, it means that that post is ineffective. It means that your messaging is ineffective. What needs to happen in order for you to judge whether the product is effective or not is to, first of all, create messaging that speaks to your dreamboat client and then at least get them to engage, at least gets them to get on a phone call with you. Then once you start pitching your invitation, you can look to see what are the conversions and also what is the feedback. This person I thought was a dreamboat client, they didn't want to buy. Why did they say to you that they weren't going to buy? And then from those answers, we can start to see, okay, where can I add to the product? Where do I shift my messaging in order to speak to either a more appropriate client or to eliminate the objections that they have by shifting and upgrading the offer? So you look at the data, and then the next step is to tweak, refine, and optimize based on that data. And then we have to go back to practice and persistence. You've got to, once you've tweaked, refined, and optimized, you go again. You've got to be persistent with that. The reality is that a significant period of time isn't 90 days. It just isn't. In fact, that's the very, very, very bare minimum. Going back to Elon Musk, when he had the idea for SpaceX, he launched a company in 2002. It took them 4 years to get their first rocket in the air. 4 years. And then it took them 13 years to land it. 2002 is when they launched a company. 2015 is when they had their first successful landing. That's wild. Now, the reason he was able to do that is because the money was there for him to do that. He also knows the value of being able to solve this problem. It's a no-brainer for him to be patient and persistent and solve this problem. He thought it would take a couple of years. 13 years it took for them to actually land the rocket, which is just so wild. So if you don't have a shed load of money in the bank, what do you need to do? Who do you need to be in order to still be able to approach this with patience and persistence? As I said right in the beginning, you've got to diversify your actions and your products so that you have something that is paying you, that is working, so that you are able to also continue working on the project that needs refining, optimizing, and tweaking. And for me, it is only if you stop believing in either yourself or the project that you let it go. Because the reality is that most people in the coaching industry right now, you're not coming up with the next SpaceX. It is not an original idea. You will be taking it from somebody else and tweaking it. So that just means that it's an alignment and strategy issue. You just have to find your alignment and the right strategy for this to work for you, unless it's something completely new. Most of the time, people are giving up too quickly because they're looking for a silver bullet. And really what this episode is about is really showing you the process of being able to stay in the game for a decade or more, which is what I have done. It's not by throwing everything out. It's through iterating and optimizing and looking at the data and then doing my own inner work. The more I've done that, the less I have thrown things out. And I say this as a multi-passionate person who is a born creator. There's a big difference in allowing yourself to evolve and create versus being like, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working, throw more spaghetti at the wall, throw more spaghetti at the wall, throw more spaghetti at the wall. It's a totally different mindset. So these steps are really here to support you in thinking like a high-ticket coach, a successful entrepreneur. I hope that this has been helpful for you. If it has, do me a favor and share this with at least one other person. And I would really appreciate you letting me know, where is it that you feel that you have got stuck in the past? Which point are you going to bring more intention to as you go on with your creations and your impact making? I would love, love, love to hear. And in the meantime, please remember that faith plus action equals miracles.
Thank you for listening to Infinite Receiving with me, Susie Ashworth. I'd love to share with you my Infinite Receiving activation audio. Go to susieashworth.com/activate infinite receiving.